you just want just the ankle off the joint here. Typically, if you have people who are being taped every day, if you have people who are allergic to tape, we would have pro-wrap. We're going to learn to tape directly to skin because it is better. It adheres better to the skin. The other thing that we want to note is I don't have any here, but there's 2 pieces of heel lace pads that go on the front of the foot and the back of the heel that help produce friction. So some of you may note that when you have these tape jobs on, they feel a little bit tight around these two areas. When you do an ankle tape job, we'd recommend you have heel lace pads on those 2 friction areas. One thing that I learned when I was abroad is if you want a quick tip, if you don't have heel lace pads, there's 2 things you can do. You can first take a set of tape like this. It's not perfect, but it works. And you can actually bend it over each other and just put it on the area. So I'm going to put one there, and one here. The other thing that I found worked if you don't want to waste your tape is Vaseline. Put a little bit of Vaseline on here, put a little bit of Vaseline on there. It won't adhere to those locations. It won't feel as bad on the back of the heel and on the front of the foot. Okay? But ideally, we're going to have the heel and lace pads. Okay? So the first thing we're going to do is give her a landmark. Okay? We always learn where to start the tape. We're going to find the musculotendinous joint of the calf. So that's where the gastroc actually comes down into the hand. So we have her push into my hand. Push into my hand, good. And you'll see that she'll have an accentuated calf here. Okay? We're going to come a couple fingers below, and that's where we're going to start the first anchor of our tape job. Okay? So when you're going around the calf is not a circle. It's not a perfect circle. So to get no wrinkles, you actually have to come at a bit of an angle. So as you start at the top of the calf, you're going to loop around and come up on a bit of an angle so that you avoid wrinkles. Okay? I'm going to start off with 2 anchors overlapping by half around the calf, like so. Okay? First 2 anchors. Then I'm actually going to anchor at the base of the foot. You'll see why in a sec. I find this actually relieves some of the pressure on the bottom of the foot, and it also allows some spots for stirrups, which is going to be the next part. Okay? This should not be too tight. I've had athletes who get this tape job done. Remember, there's multiple ways, but they'll get this tape job done, and by the end of the week, they'll have a lot of pain through their 5th metatarsal if it's done incorrectly. Okay? Because it's pushing on the 5th metatarsal. All right, so once we have our 2 anchors in place, we have to start with our horseshoes. So we're going to start. Now, there's 2 different ways of doing it. First, you have to ask them their history. So we're asking, are you allergic to tape? What happened? How long ago was it? What typically hurts? We're asking all our questions. We're checking cap refill, right? Then we're going to ask her, was it an inversion sprain or was it an eversion sprain?
Inversion.
So if it was an inversion sprain, what we're going to do is we're actually going to start on the medial side of the ankle. Okay? We're going to come just posterior to the malleolus, and then come back. You have to keep your foot up like this. If the athlete starts to drop their foot, it's going to start to wrinkle the tape, and it's not going to be very solid. We're going to come up to the lateral side of the ankle. So it's going to go from medial to lateral. And what that's going to do is pull the ankle into a bit of eversion to support through that joint. Okay? If it was an eversion sprain, I'm going to pull neutral. You never want to be pulling an athlete into inversion because remember, you only have those 3 ligaments on the outside. So you don't want to be pulling into inversion. You're going to pull neutral. Okay? Now, once I have that first strip in place, I'm going to come and I'm going to start my first stirrup. So it's going to go straight from the top of the foot here, around, and we're going to cup the ankle and come back to the front. So anchor to anchor, like so. Smoothing as I go. Okay? Then I'm going to do a second one. So if my first one went behind the malleolus, I'm going to overlap by half and do my second one, lateral to medial, medial to lateral on this one, up to the side, like so. And this is just a basket weave. You guys want to know what this is called?
Just a quick question. If it was an eversion, would you start from laterally and come medial?
No. So that's you always want to come into neutral. Because you have only those 3 ligaments supporting on the lateral side, you don't want to be pulling the athlete into inversion because it will destabilize the joint. So we would just pull neutral. So then I'm going to do my second stirrup, overlapping by half, starting on the front of the foot, looping around to the front here. Okay. Come through here. Then we're going to come and do a third strip, just in front of that one, starting starting medially and going laterally. Now there are a couple things to note about these horseshoe strips. So if the person, she has a pretty good ankle right now, so I was able to get my 3 in just on the bottom of the foot, covering that malleolus, supporting the malleolus. But if you have a really small foot, you can consider a fan technique, where instead of coming straight down, I can come on a diagonal, so that you don't end up too far up here or on the heel. The heel should be open. The back of the heel should be open. Okay? And then once I've done that, I'm going to come through my 3rd strap. And what you'll end up with is a perfect basket weave. Okay? You need a minimum of 3. I'm just going to lock this in place so it doesn't move. Of 3 horseshoes. Okay? Before you start. Now the next part is kind of hard. So I'm going to get you to watch. You can pause your video for a second.
Question?
Sorry, 1 second.
No, I recorded twice and I stopped.
So that last one you did just to seal in, was it optional or is that something you have to do?
That's to hold it in place because I'm going to have her move in a second.
So that's not optional?
It's optional because we're going to seal all the way to the top when we're done our tape job.
Okay.
Okay?
Do you have to cover these up with the tape job or can that
It will end up covered up for now. We're not done.
Oh.
We're not done yet.
Okay.
Okay? So the next one is actually your heel locks and figure 8s. Actually, I'm going to show you with the tape first, and then I'll demonstrate with the wrap. So there are a billion ways of doing this, and your notes have 2 different ways. Now, I'm going to do it my way, and show you guys how to do my way. If you start having difficulties, I'll show you some variations individually. What you're going to end up with, everyone will end up with the same design on the ankle, locking in that subtalar joint. So this, most of the ankle tape drop support is going to come from this move that I'm going to do now. This is going to provide some support, but most of it's going to come here where we're going to actually lock the ankle into place along the heel. They're called heel locks. Okay? So how I'm going to do this, I'm going to start on the medial side of the foot. Okay? Come down towards the medial malleolus, and then I'm going to lock up, okay? Lock up on that heel. You got that? So I lock the first heel up. Then I'm going to come around the foot, loop around the lateral malleolus, and lock on that side of the foot. I'm not pulling, I'm just laying it down. Okay? And I'm going to come back up to the top of the foot. Okay? And now, once I've gotten this, I have 2 heel locks in place. This is a continuous tape job. People are really impressed when you do it really fast. Okay? There are some people who will cut in the middle and will do it in 2 parts. We're going to learn it continuously. Okay? So we're not pulling really, really tight. We're laying it down, making sure it's firm support. We're going to follow those lines. So I'm going to come back down along those lines and then lock back up and then come this way. And then end up on the foot. Like so.
So it's like a figure 8 kind of?
These are the heel locks, and I'll show you a figure 8 in a sec. So this move here is going to stop inversion, eversion. There should be 2 on both sides. Now for your figure 8, I'm going to start a little bit more on the anterior of the foot. This is going to limit a bit of plantar flexion, dorsiflexion. I'm going to come this way.
Necessary, or you're just showing?
No, you have to do a figure 8. Come across the foot like so. And then I end up with exactly a figure 8. Okay? In, around, and back. It's a figure 8. It's like an 8 on the foot. Now I'm going to lock it in place. So all my strips. On the bottom, you have a circular ankle, so you can come in circulars, overlap by half. Come closer to me for a second. Yeah. Nope, we're going to use a shark. So. Okay. And we should see if I rank on that, she's not getting into inversion. Plantar flex, dorsiflex, she's still able to plantar flex, dorsiflex. If I wanted to not have as much, like soccer players like nothing on their ankles, then I would not do my figure 8. I'd limit primarily inversion, eversion, and I'd use my horseshoes. Okay, take a step down. How's it feel?
Okay.
Go for a wrap.
That's one tape job.
That's one tape job.
Yeah, it's good.
Okay? So a couple key, it does bounce a little bit. Come sit back up. So the key features to note here, that you've done it correctly. You should start a little bit below the musculotendinous joint junction, okay? The heel should be open. Now, what people struggle with most is that continuous heel lock figure eight session. So I break my heel locks and figure eights, but that 2 heel locks, very difficult if you don't have the right angles. And what you'll start to notice if you have the wrong angles is that you'll end up like on the heel. You'll end up on the heel, you end up into here. So you have to make sure you're getting the right ankles. And the ways that I do that is I start medially, I head down towards that medial malleolus, okay? What you should end up with, if you turn around, is sorry if you can't see here, but on that base here, that should be a triangle right at the top of the foot. That's when you know you're on the right angle. So you'll end up with that triangle of the 2 crosses right in the center of the joint, right? And same thing will happen on the base here. My X will happen right in the center of the joint, right? So it's all about angles. We have no windows, okay? We're nice and smooth, and that's a great job, okay? Now before I have you do the whole thing, I'm going to start you off just with the basket leap. So I want you guys to do